welcome once again on the Mark to Mark Sports Conversation, the only conversation with a difference. Okay, my name is Pali Rose, and as always, I have Mark Namanya and Mark Sally in studio, and we are happy to be back, and we have so much to give you today. So right now, let's get into the Uganda Cranes World Cup qualifiers. Friday is Judgment Day for the Cranes, guys. Speaking of, I think there is the Chan team that has been there, and this other team that's going to play this Friday. We know they're all Cranes, but now the question comes in, who will keep their spot? Who is going to survive this time round? Guys, let's get into it.
Yeah, Pa, thanks. We have that World Cup qualifier. Actually, have two World Cup qualifiers. Every international break, FIFA ensure that they put in as much action as is possible before the return of the professional leagues in Europe and Asia and South America and Africa. So we'll play Mozambique Friday and then Somalia on Tuesday. Yeah, and you're right. We've just come out of a tournament, the Chan, which was for only the domestic best players, the ones who play in our Uganda Premier League, and now it's full board. The professionals have been summoned, and so they get involved now. It's the same for everybody else across the continent. We had our fun with Chan, and the Ugandans got to see that we actually have players who are able to compete in our own league. When we were here last, or at the week, last week, Mark, we were discussing, because we had Mujib Kasule with us, we said one or two things about Paul Put and our head coach, the fact that he was not involved that much with Chan. He left it to Mole Biakwaso and Fred Muhumuza, and also the fact that he seems to have a preference for the professional best players to the domestic best ones. Now, of course, because these days Mark to Mark is trending, he must have seen a clip. He must have seen a clip because he reacted yesterday by saying, for me, I don't care whether they are domestic or foreign. Yes. Players are players. But I think that was in direct reaction to something that had been said on here. But never mind. I still believe that the guys who have been summoned have not been summoned just to come and warm the bench. So there'll be several changes from the Chan team to the one that plays on Friday. The politics, with the dynamics and the politics within the team setup are such that they are going to want to be politically correct. That's my prediction. And therefore, there's several players from here that will keep their place as well, both on the pitch and the bench. Thing though is that in all honesty, some of them are even more active, the ones here, because they're coming out of a tournament and competition. Exactly. I mean, they squeezed 5 games in there, 3 of them against top opposition, Senegal, South Africa, and Algeria, and the other 2 were the kind that such big morale boosters because they were very competitive as well, Guinea and Niger. So those guys are still fit, super fit. Some of the guys coming from outside might not have played. But yeah, I'll get into it with Mark now. Mark, in goal, Joel Mutakubwa, we thought he had a good tournament overall. He showed some errors of judgment, especially rushing off his line. There was one which was comically punished against South Africa. Yeah. Yes. But now with Salim Magola and Dennis Onyango coming back, Onyango actually out of retirement, Magola returning to the fold after having been dropped. You don't think Joel keeps his place, does he?
Joel doesn't keep his place. If it were me, I would have Alionzi in goal. I thought Alionzi...
He was the one keeping goal in the previous
game, yes.
Qualifiers, World Cup qualifiers.
And the last game we won at Nambola, I think won it 1-0. Mark, remind me the team we played.
He
made a save late in the game.
Was that against Guinea, Gurasi and company?
Against Guinea, yes. A very critical save late in the game. Yeah. I thought he did well between the sticks.
And because he had just taken over from Ishmael Watenga.
Yes, from Ishmael Watenga.
Watenga is not part of the squad.
And of course, the team we're playing, Mark, on Friday is the team in which Watenga didn't cover himself in glory. I think we played them in Egypt and he made some very, very schoolboy errors. Mozambique, yes, we lost. Yeah. And there's some a combination of diabolical defending and very, very outrageous goalkeeping, if I may say. But
So you'd keep Nafi and Alionzi?
I'll keep Alionzi.
I don't see him.
The biggest problem, Mark, actually, the candidates for that goal should be Alionzi and Salim Jamal Magola, for me.
Yes.
Because Alionzi, like I said, kept his clean sheet against Guinea. Salim Magola has never retired. He's been in the training squad and he's been available and he's been active. He's quite actually more experienced than everyone there, apart from Dennis Onyango. I would not play Onyango because Onyango has been inactive for a very, very long time, and he's coming back into the national team fold. Obviously, my reservations about Onyango's recall are well documented. Mm-hmm. I mentioned them in the last show. I don't want to go back to them, but I would have Alionzi in goal.
Alionzi in goal.
And have Jamal Salim as the alternate. I don't think that will happen, but that's what I'll do.
Okay, that's what you do now. Realistically, what's going to happen is that the competition actually largely is going to be between Dennis Onyango and Salim Magola. Now, I'd be shocked if Paul Put actually picked your choice of Nafi and Alionzi. Alionzi has been good. He has been active. Salim Magola has been active as well and is quite experienced. But there's no way, in my book, the way I see it, there's no way the powers that be get Onyango to make that decision, because I don't think he made it on his own. Because if he had made it on his own, I don't think it would have been accepted by the powers that be, and he might not be. He might have announced he was coming out of retirement and still not been called to the squad. So that he was called onto the squad,
yes,
for me, means that there was an influence outside of him in the decision-making here process. And if they have called him out of... Especially
given the fact that he had that very, very well documented
fallout
with the former president.
With the former president.
Yes, which went viral,
Yeah, so it went viral. So if Moses Makoko and FUFA and the establishment of FUFA and everybody else who's involved in the Cranes have chosen for him to come back, it's because they're going to play him. I don't see how you get Onyango out of retirement and back into camp and then not play him.
Just sit there.
And it defeats the purpose of why. So they're going to play him.
Mark, a thought went through my head that typically, if you look at the Cranes team today, you're looking at players like, let's say, yes, Alan Okello, in fairness, yes. You're looking at John Patrick Akande. Maybe you have these guys who are on the fringes. There's Toby Siddiq and a few other guys. And I'm thinking, Dennis Onyango actually played football with Ibrahim Sekaja.
Yes.
He played football with Timothy Batabaire.
Yeah.
He played football with Nestor Echizito. So, the current Cranes team right now, there's no one who belongs to Onyango's generation.
No, yeah, that's true.
There's none. And I've tried to wrap my head around the whole thing, and I just.
No, look back. I'll tell you this. One, there are a few things in Onyango's favor here. One is that he's a brilliant goalkeeper, and if he's been training with Sundowns, even if he wasn't starting the games because Ronald Williams was, and he didn't play at the Club World Cup, he's been training throughout with these guys. Now, Mamelodi Sundowns is at a very high level, much higher level than most of our clubs and even national teams around the continent, because of the competition there and how much activity they have across the continent. And these days, I mean, like we said, even in the US. So I think he will have his wits about him. And because he's a brilliant goalkeeper, better than anything we've had over a spell of about 25 years.
No, he's the greatest goalkeeper I think Uganda has had in history.
He's arguably the greatest player of all time. I mean, that's an argument for another day. We'll have it one day in Uganda. But he will keep goal. Mozambique and Somalia are not bad choices for you to come back to. If you're coming out of
Mozambique are tricky customers. Somalia will not cause us so many problems. Mozambique
are tricky customers. But they're not Egypt, they're not Morocco, they're not Senegal, they're not Nigeria. So you can't compete there. And Mozambique.
Well, I saw them emerging in an AFCON group which had Egypt and Ghana at the last AFCON.
They're really good.
And they cleaned us in the game in which
but when you say about generations, sometimes these things happen. I mean, Cristiano Ronaldo for Portugal is playing on the same pitch as this Conceição kid. Conceição's dad played with Cristiano Ronaldo at the Euro 2004 finals for Portugal. As Portugal went to the
Mark, there's a big difference.
now Ronaldo's playing.
Mark, 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 no, Mark, hold it there. Hold it there, Mark. Hold it there. Cristiano Ronaldo has never retired from the Portuguese national team. In fairness to him, he's been playing, he's been competing at the highest level. He's never said, I've had it, I've retired from the team, and let me give way to the other people. Onyango retired. He publicly retired.
Time off.
And left the stage. Secondly, Cristiano Ronaldo is still starting games for Al Nassr. Cristiano Ronaldo led Portugal to the UEFA Nations League a couple of months ago. Onyango has not been in the national team for how many years? And I'm saying...
That's 4. It's only 4.
So,
I mean, 4 years is quite a long time, Mark. And the biggest problem with keeping goal, Mark, unlike any other position, is that as a goalkeeper, you have no room for mistakes. You can be an outfield player, Mark, and you get away with some kind of mediocre.
Yeah, losing possession, missing a chance, misplacing a pass. It's not the same as
goalkeepers are remembered
missing a shot on goal.
Goalkeepers are remembered for their mistakes and not their saves. Unfortunately.
Oh, yeah, no,
most of the time.
Listen, Onyango's career has been built around more around his saves than his mistakes. One of the most famous things about Onyango is him stepping onto the pitch and actually going into a shootout and saving 5 penalties. That one still goes around, by the way. That was at the peak of his powers, at a very high level. Like I said here on our conversation last week, there was a time at the peak of his powers when, say, African goalkeepers in Europe, there were not too many at the top clubs. And so the ones who were shining out were people like Andre Onana at Ajax. You had the Senegalese goalkeeper, former at Chelsea, was playing at higher level. And I looked at them and I was thinking,
Edward
Mendy, yeah. I looked at them all. Even Bono was there because Bono was in the La Liga for quite a bit and all. I looked at them and all, and I was thinking, Onyango is better than these guys. At the time when he was picked as Africa's best player on the continent, I was like,
that was 2016.
Yeah. So if you're saying, that's 9 years ago.
2017, yeah.
A bit, yeah. But if you're saying, if I thought that then this guy can keep goal. Never mind, Mark. Let's just run through the rest of the team because in my mind, Onyango is going to be in goal. If you, whatever it is, right back.
And by the way, is he going to be the captain? Because Khalid Awucho, who's been the captain, has also been added to the team.
Is back in the team as
I don't
well.
want to strip more confidence and hand it back to the more senior player. All these awkward.
And don't get me wrong. For me to say that Onyango is going to be in goal, I'll be surprised or shocked if he isn't. That's what I'm saying. 1, 2, doesn't mean that I support his return from international from retirement. I didn't support it at all. It didn't make sense to me. And I've seen many. I don't want to start talking about them here because there will be too many, and it will prolong the conversation. That didn't work out. Reversals of retirement. But anyway, never mind. For him, I think, especially in these World Cup qualifiers, I think he'll be fine.
But last Mark, before we exit this Onyango issue, what does that mean for the other goalkeepers, the younger goalkeepers?
Is
it a vote of no confidence in their abilities?
I don't think so. I don't think so. They know it, and we all know it. It's not a vote of confidence. So, Mark, at right back, we've had Gavin Chisto playing at the Chan, but now several guys come back into the fold, especially Elvis Bomono, who has actually played at right back in several of the World Cup and AFCON qualifiers, where his competition was not Gavin Chisto, but Kenneth Semakula. Semakula is also in the squad, someone as a midfielder, but he's part of that squad. And there are several other players. Toby Sibik is in, Herbert Brockham is in, those guys, the guys from Scandinavia and all. Does Gavin keep his place or he gives way to Elvis?
I'm not sure about Gavin. I watched him for Cranes in all the Chan matches, and I struggled to make out of his performance. I didn't think he was potent going forward. I just thought that he was decent without being spectacular.
Yeah, I agree entirely.
Yeah.
He's actually lacking in his abilities beyond the center line.
Yes.
For a modern right back. At that level.
At that level.
Yes.
At that level.
He does play well for KCCA.
Yeah.
He was solid defensively. In the Chan, he was exposed once or twice. You couldn't blame it too much on him. When you're isolated in one-on-ones with some of the best inverted wingers on the continent, it's tough. There's especially, I think South Africa and Senegal had a few players giving him trouble, but he's solid defensively.
He's solid, but it doesn't give us the kind of things. So Nico Wadada used to give us,
modern right back, and Uganda's history with right backs.
Simeon Masaba, they offered a lot more.
All the way back from the days of the Paul Hasule.
Absolutely,
what right back gives you beyond the center line. Gavin doesn't.
He doesn't.
And I don't think he can keep his place ahead of Elvis.
No, Elvis will take I think he's a show.
There's a possibility of Kenneth Makola actually also being played there.
The advantage with Kenneth Makola, because of his versatility, is the sort of player the coach may want on the pitch, and he will use him as and when he wants, depending on how the game
absolutely
is shaping out. So
if there was a crisis, say, for which subs are forced, somebody
you
can send in
midfield,
and bring another right back,
exactly,
or bring out of midfield, send to right back,
exactly,
bring another midfielder,
exactly,
that kind of thing.
The kind of thing we won't do for Gavin.
He gives you the options there. Well, we'll see. I think Kenneth might edge out Elvis, but I think that Elvis Bomono has been harshly criticized the times he has been down here. And I think that he's not got the consistency of being picked.
He only had
him to actually establish.
Elvis, I think he's only had 1 or 2 bad mints, and that was in the game against South Africa in Johannesburg.
Yes.
When we led 2-1 deep in stoppage time, and then he made a mistake.
I'll play him too. Left back, I don't think that Herbert Achai was outstanding.
No, Aziz Kayando. Herbert Kayando was outstanding. I thought he offered more than Gavin on the other side, but I think that's Aziz Kayando.
But Aziz Kayando is has been perhaps Ukraine's best player.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Last 1 year.
Oh yes. So, and he is playing at his club, so he's quite active. That's a shoe-in for Aziz Kayando.
Centre backs, Hilary Mukundane and Roger Storach, big partnership, good partnership, played well at the Chan, but now the big boys come in. I think that one of those two might keep their place, but play with Elio Capradossi. Yeah,
Capradossi has got to play in the center of the face. I didn't see Bevis Mugabe Mark.
Bevis Mugabe didn't come.
He's not part of this team, so I would not be shocked, Mark. I thought Torach emerged as a strong candidate to join the senior national team. I thought from the time when he took the armband over from Alan Okello, he led from the 4. He was quite imposing, and he showed tremendous leadership skills, in deciding to take that penalty against South Africa. I would not be shocked if Torach is selected.
I think he's going to be. I think that he has that edge over Mkundane. The fact that he took over the armband and led.
Yes.
And for everybody.
And he wore his hand on his sleeve.
Yeah. And that last gasp penalty will live long in the
memory.
Will live long in the memory. This is why we reached our first knockout stages in Chan. Now, I think Torach pairs with Capradossi, but then that means that it makes him a stopper, and Capradossi becomes the sweeper.
Absolutely.
And I think he can do the job anyway. That side there. But there's candidates there to compete, including Mukundane, like we said. Now, Mark, into central midfield, we had a midfield that eventually exalted themselves, the midfield 3. It was Enoch Sebagala, Joe Seronjoji, and Karim Watambala. Those 3 played midfield in Chan. Sebagala has not been summoned here, so that makes our choices easier.
Yes.
But Seronjoji is in there to compete with the returning Khalid Aucho.
Yes.
We talked about Kenneth Semakula.
Yes.
And then
Sechiganda
is also back in the team.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I believe, if you ask me, that Khalid Aucho comes back into that. Because of his experience, his positional discipline, his ability to shield the back 4, and his ability to start play. How he passes from there.
Yes. He's the most experienced outside of Onyango, the most experienced player on that team.
He's always been a
because Khalid is the only player who played at AFCON 2017, 8 years ago in Gabon, outside other than Onyango.
Who's still part
of the team, yes.
Yeah, but so he brings a lot to the team, so I think he'll come in there. I see him actually playing with Joel Seronjoji. Mark, I see him playing with Joel Seronjoji as the double pivot. And then I see Alan Okello being drawn away from the wide areas where he played in Chan, back into the 10 as ahead of them. But Alan Okello's competition there is actually Travis Mutiaba. Mutiaba is back in this fold from Bordeaux.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
Belgium. I don't see, because Paul Put has done it before, I don't see for the Mozambique game actually him starting both Travis and
No, he's not going to start both of them. It's not,
yeah, so I
he's
have a
not
feeling
doing-
Alan will
Mozambique,
the way he played against Chad.
Mozambique are a good team, and you've got to respect them.
Yes.
So I don't think he's going to afford himself the luxury of having Travis and Alan on the
So-
same pitch together. However, Mark,
Yeah.
where is Abdul Karim Watambala? Watambala was very outstanding for
He was
Queens
outstanding as
in
well.
Chan.
Yeah, that's for me. Is one of the
He's
guys who lose out.
He played very well because he never played against Algeria. But from the time when he came into the team,
Yeah.
he
He
established
came in as a
himself.
sub against Algeria and
Yeah.
actually changed the game.
He changed the game.
Yeah.
I thought it was tidy in his passing, his positional discipline. He was getting into spaces to shoot the ball. He was a very, very, very important player for Queens in Chan. And you can't accommodate Abdul in that midfield.
I see him being, unless they choose for him to play with Khalid Awucho in that double pivot with Alan ahead of them. It's going to be tough picking Karim Watambala in that front, in front of the pivot where he played. If Alan is also going to be available,
Yeah.
because Alan is more creative and all, and he's a darling. He's a
Yeah.
darling, to be honest.
And they're different players, if I to be honest.
But Watambala packs a shot from distance.
Yes.
He's a good passer. Actually, he was involved heavily in some of the goals we scored on the counter-attack.
Yes,
in
and
Chad.
if you watch last season, the two best players in the league were Alan Okello and Abdul Karim Watambala in Vipers double season, and he transferred that form into Chan.
In
So
Chan, yeah. But I think he's the one of those who loses out.
Yeah.
If Khalid Aucho comes into the team.
the
because
good thing, I mean, for Put
I think
and for
Sekou
Uganda,
should be kept.
there's no harm in having Watambala on the bench either. He can also be a game changer.
Yeah, he can. Yeah, him and Serunjoji can actually swap places,
Yeah.
or he can actually come on for Alan. So Alan and Travis, we're saying
So-
Alan trumps Travis and starts.
Yeah.
That means the front three.
Because
Because the reason
although Mark Sechiganda has been, should I say, one of Put's regular players,
favorites.
one of the
Put
favorite
loves to
favorites.
play Sechiganda
Yeah.
when he's fit.
When
It's
he's
the
fit.
last game. He dropped him for the last game before Chan.
Yeah.
I don't know what was going on there, but Sechiganda transferred halfway through.
Yeah.
Transferred
From Ville to APR.
to
Yes.
APR in Rwanda. Then had a misfortune in the family. There was loss of a loved one and things like that,
Yeah.
which affected him. But I think if he's back competing, it's going to be difficult to overlook him as well. So there's competition there, Mark.
Yeah,
I think
there is.
The midfield three might be Awucho, Serunjoji, and Alan. If
Yeah.
it isn't, then Sechiganda takes one of those places.
Yeah.
I think that Karim might have to wait. We'll see.
Yeah.
Front three, I am thinking, Mark, that Jude Semugabi might lose out.
Yeah.
He's one of the Alan would be the other one to lose out, but Jude Semugabi I think is losing out, and so is Regan Mpande on the other side. Because what I believe, you tell me what you think. What I believe is that Rogers Mato and Dennis Omedi are going to come into this team.
Definitely.
And if they come into this team, they're
Definitely.
like I said, Mato is coming from Europe, from
Yes,
Macedonia.
yes.
Omedi is coming from APR.
Yes.
Now, if they take those wide places,
Yes.
because this is what I believe again, Mark, and I don't know if you agree with me. I believe that actually Uche Mugiru is going to start as the number 9. Because it's the only player of that nature.
Yes.
In that whole team.
That whole team, yes.
Yeah, if they might
Yes.
choose, I mean, if they choose to play Semugabi, Omedi, and Mato, because those three have played for Uganda before, then one of them would be playing as a false 9, either Omedi or Semugabi, and that has happened before.
Yeah.
We have seen it, and Semugabi was really good.
Yeah.
Playing as a false 9
Yeah.
in the Chan. Omedi has played there before as well, but now they have a 9. They've brought this guy in finally. This guy is coming from Europe. And he's finally come. The first time he was called up, 2021 and all, he didn't play because then COVID, we got matches postponed because of COVID. Then he was called again in 24, I think, by Mitchell. I don't know if he showed up that time. I don't remember if he showed up. I don't think he showed up. He didn't. No, he did not come. He was at Cardiff in Wales that time, and he was fighting to keep his place in the Cardiff team. So he didn't come. Now he has come. I don't think, like Onyango, I don't think certain players are brought into this fold to be sat on the bench.
Yes, yes.
So I think Uche will start now.
The problem which Uganda Cranes had when Jean Sepia was in the national team.
Yes.
Because Sepia at the time I think was playing in Australia.
Yes.
And they were saying we cannot spend a ticket from Australia is like more expensive than a ticket to the US.
Yes.
And they were saying where's the justification of spending that amount of money? I don't know, $4,000, $5,000 on a ticket for a player
who you're not going to play.
Who you're going to play. You'd rather not spend that money.
Yeah.
That was the time when the government wasn't funding the cranes the way it does today.
Yeah.
So FIFA had every reason to be frugal in their
But even in recent times when they've had money, it has seemed again a bit unrealistic for them to do such things. I mean, to bring in the players from the US. You say the ticket for US is cheaper than Australia, but it's more expensive than the rest of the world from which our players come.
Yes.
So they've been bringing up a person like Bobo Sibiarahanga. They'll bring him in from Austin in Texas. He comes here and he doesn't get to start. That's a lot of money spent. And then that is also, plus the guys from New York. The guys are playing at
Steven Serrada, the guys at Red Bull, yes.
Red Bull, yeah. So it's difficult to bring guys like those in if you're not going to play them. None of them has been called up to this one. Bobosi, no, and the guys from Serrada and the others have not been called up either. But I think that Uche starts. Uche has been a journeyman in England, in UK, let's say. Because he started at Reading, but in England he's played for clubs like Reading, Middlesbrough, and even Watford. And then he's played for a whole host. I mean, now he's played in Wales, but now he's back in Scotland at St Johnstone, where he's also played for several clubs there. He even went a bit to Turkey to Konyaspor. And he's actually 30. This is a guy who's born and bred in England. When he says 30, he's 30. It's not a bad age. It's not a bad age for a leader of the line.
No, it's not a bad age, yeah.
But he's not been necessarily prolific for his clubs. I don't think for any of those clubs he's got more than double figures of goals. But it gives him a wealth of experience. 2 goals.
And it's coming
and it's a number 9 that Uganda doesn't have.
That's a problem area for Uganda Cranes. It's been for the last 10 years. But Mark, you haven't mentioned John Patrick Akande in all this.
But Kakande and they had a great chance, but I don't see them starting. But I see them being involved.
They'll be involved, especially Kakande.
I think Kakande will come off the bench.
Because
Kakande is more of a Molebi Kwaso player, and Kakande is more of a Paul Put player.
Absolutely.
So I think Kakande will be involved at some point.
Yeah, I am almost certain that you'll see involvement of obviously Alan will start. You can take that to the bank. There'll be involvement of Travis Mutiaba or John Kakande or both.
I think both will come. I think if they don't start, both will come off the bench.
One
of them might
because
even
they are game changers. Yes.
One of them might even knock out one of the other guys and start. But I would think that Mato and Omedi, because of their experience and everything, with Uche, they would form the front three. We'll see. Pal.
Yes.
Sorry, darling. Can you take us back to where? Let's leave Chan and Cranes.
Do you think like the home support, all of us as Uganda is still Crane superpower, or that has also faded?
No, I think it's still there because, Mark, I'm happy that FIFA have embraced the payment method which was used for Chan. They've maintained.
They started it
they've maintained the online ticketing system. And the tickets are being bought. That's a very good thing. Ugandans have carried on the wave from Chan that they're taking to the World Cup qualifiers. They make no mistake. They love their fans. They love their national team. I thought the fans were excellent in Chan. Mark, we've said so many things about Chan, but our fans were excellent over the various games, the 5-6 games Uganda Cranes played at Nambole, and we hope that they can take the same energy into these 2 games against Mozambique on Friday, and then Somalia on Monday. Because while Uganda will not qualify for the World Cup, if we are to be realistic, Mark, I think it is important for us to maintain this kind of zeal and fervor and passion going into AFCON 2027. I think it's important for us to maintain that upward trajectory, because it will be very critical for us when the actual tournament, the big one,
starts. Now, Paul, it's not that we have little faith. Personally, I believe that the World Cup qualifiers, actually this time round, ought to be used to prepare the team for other things. Because we're already training. It's going to be difficult for us to make up that gap. And the competition going into 2026 in the USA, Canada, and Mexico is tough. I mean, if we pull it off, because we've pulled off some Houdinis, that will be good. There's always a first timer from Africa.
Algeria went win that group.
And Angola went 2006. I mean, it happens. But I agree with Mark on the 12th man, as you were asking the fans. They're brilliant. By the time we came actually onto air for this conversation, all the ordinary tickets had already been sold out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Online, yes.
They've been sold
All
out,
you
all
can
of them.
get right now online is premium,
Yeah.
which I don't think will be for much longer too.
Yeah.
So if you haven't got a ticket for Friday by now, you might miss out. That's Mark, CAF have officially come out and said that East Africa have hosted the best Jan, and it's largely because of those fans.
Yeah.
Because Uganda had 5 sold out games. Actually 6 if you include the third place playoff, even if we're not involved. And then Kenya had sold out games, so had Tanzania. And I went to the final between Morocco and Madagascar.
Senegal, the Kasarani. Yeah, Madagascar. Yeah.
In Kasarani, in Nairobi. And the Kenyan fans still showed up for that. They were not involved, but they came in there largely because they had beef against Madagascar. They came to support over Madagascar. But by the way,
The same way Ugandans were supporting everything which played Senegal.
yeah, because Senegal knocked us out. Yeah, but for the Kenyans it was even more fierce because
Yeah.
they believe that Mozambique, that Madagascar actually robbed them.
I think, Mark, if I were Kenyan, I would still be very furious because Uganda were beaten by a better team. Senegal were better.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
Tanzania were knocked out by Morocco.
Tanzania were knocked out by Morocco. Morocco are the champions.
Yes.
Kenya led against Madagascar.
Yes.
Kenya missed chances.
Yeah.
Kenya led in the shootouts.
Yes.
So they have
And they lost despite all of that, and they
Yeah.
still believe that even referee scores were against them.
Yes.
And they're bitter. But they had Mark, I agree with Mark, because Kenya, if they had beaten Madagascar like they should have, we're going to face Sudan in the semis.
Yes.
And they had a chance against that as well.
Yes.
So the Kenyans could have been
And
actually showing up
then Kenya is the only team which beat Morocco in this tournament, actually.
Yeah.
They beat Morocco in the opening game.
Yeah.
And it was one of those games where you don't know how they put it on, but they did.
But they did.
Yeah.
Morocco went on to beat
Okay.
them.
Yeah, it reminded me of how in the last CHAN, Uganda beat Senegal. And then Senegal went on to become champions. But
Yeah.
at least we had the pride that we beat Senegal.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Yes, so the supporters, if you're asking Paul, that is Uganda's trump card at Nambole now.
Amazing.